Happy Thursday to you, and welcome on in to the final edition of the week here on WagerTalk Extra. We're reminding you each Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that no matter what sport you're cashing on, that money spends all the same. It's just as green and a jam-packed show today. We're going to get you all ready to go for that UFC event this weekend. And then we also going to lead off with a little auto racing talk, a little life in the fast lane for you, a little slipstream with the unofficial yet official co-host here of Wager Talk Extra. Andy Lang is back again, brother, and always love it when one of the sports that you are just able to hone in on, you've turned a profit every year in auto racing. So NASCAR and Formula One, it's not just a preview show like we had, a week or so ago. We're getting into the nitty gritty this week, man. I know you're excited about it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for a couple things this season. One, we've been able to add Formula One really extensively over last year. The explosion of the popularity of Formula One has made it to where these books have to put out lines. And for Formula One, you get practice lines, you get qualifying
Mm-hmm.
lines, way more options than I've ever seen before. So that's exciting. We did great in Formula One last year. And then, of course, NASCAR kicks off this weekend with the Daytona 500. This is not a race that I will probably have official client plays on because it's a restrictor plate race. But we can at least talk about it. We can, get headed in the right direction. But these restrictor plate races, I typically never bet unless I find a decent prop. But we do have a good prop in this one that I do believe in. So I believe that's worth a 1 or 2% play coming up.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, restrictor plate race going this weekend in the Daytona 500, but still, we want to check out that fast lane and live some life in the fast lane. You alluded to a prop that you like here in this one, Andy, so I'll turn the mic over to you. What are we thinking in this Daytona 500?
Before anyone comments, yes, I know it's not technically a restrictor plate anymore type rate, but that's just what we call it. It's pack racing. All
It
the
helps
cars
the
will be good.
algorithm, Andy. Let them
I
comment. It
I
helps the
I
algorithm.
know. As soon as I said it, I was like, someone's going to say something about the restrictor plate. Well, so it's pack racing. All the cars are going to be going the same speed for the most part. This is the second year in the next gen car. They made some adjustments to the front of the noses. But really, it just comes down to can you avoid getting in the big one. So it's basically who's left standing. You have some cars that typically run really, really strong, but if you're involved in one of the big accidents, it doesn't really matter, and that's typically what it comes down to. The Chevys and the Hendricks looks great so far in qualifying. I believe both of them are on the front row, and then the rest of the lineup will be determined by the duels. The starting lineup does not matter in the slightest here. So if we're looking at a prop here, I'm staying away from all head-to-head matchups. I'm staying away from outright winners, but I do like this prop on how many cars will finish on the lead lap, and I'm going to take the under 15 and a half cars to finish on the lead lap. I believe 15 cars finished on the lead lap last year, and I think we avoided some of the accidents last year because it was a brand new car. It was the first race, and they were very, very cautious. This year, I think the racing is going to be very competitive. I see quite a few. I see quite a few bumping and banging. And the other thing that helps with this is if you get off of the pack and you start to fall behind, you have no momentum, and the field is going to gobble you up and put you a lap or two down. There are quite a few cars that are kind of one-off cars or not as fast as the bigger teams, and I think we see quite a few of those cars go 2, 3, 4 laps down if they just can't keep up. You'll see a lot of these teams put one car out there for some sponsorship because it gets such huge ratings, but this is a pretty big number in a race where we've seen sometimes 10 cars, 8 cars finish on the lead lap. So give me under 15 and a half cars. I think it's very competitive. I think we see one, probably two big ones, as they call them, huge wrecks. And I think we see some lap cars fall behind. So favorite prop on this one, under 15 and a half cars to finish on the lead lap.
A little free play there for you as NASCAR action begins to heat up here. And as Andy said, more popular than ever is F1. And we love heading you to the slipstream here, getting you ready to go for this Formula One season, because I believe, Andy, you wanted to take a look at maybe some early looks on some futures in this F1 market. So slipstream time, baby. I love it. What are you thinking, Andy?
Well, just a couple housekeeping notes. So, whenever you subscribe to Auto Racing Plays, please take advantage of that special. $299 gets all golf and auto racing plays. So anytime there's a play, it just gets sent to you, whether text or email. And just know that there'll be plays coming out probably for some qualifying and maybe even some practice. So we can get a lot of bets in on Formula One. So if you sign up for auto racing plays, expect that you may see some bets for practice and for qualifying. I think the biggest storyline coming into this is up at the top of the leaderboard. Can Mercedes and Ferrari keep up with Red Bull? Red Bull face some penalties. They didn't get enough time or as much time testing as the other teams. I personally don't think that they're going to be able to keep up with Red Bull and Max Verstappen at the beginning of the year. It's going to take them an entire season to catch up to them. The gap is too big, in my opinion. I could be proven wrong, but at the start of the year, I will support Max as having the best car, the best setup, and you can still get him at plus money to win the first race of the year next week. So I would look at Max to get value in the first part of the season, and then watch Mercedes and Ferrari catch up. Also, they have some team head-to-heads about who will have the most points. It's juicy. It's minus 275, but they have Haas versus Williams. Williams is the worst team in Formula One. They had 8 points last year. Haas had over 35. I think they had 37 points. If you're okay with laying juice on a future, just play that one. I know it ties up money for a while, but if you're looking at futures, that is one that should be on your radar. And if you're playing futures kind of throughout the season about constructor points or drivers constructor points, the best time to take them is actually if the driver you like has a bad race. So if you think Max is going to win the championship, just wait until he has an off race. You're going to get much better odds. If you think Ferrari or Mercedes is going to finish ahead of the other, wait until they have an off race. That way you can increase your odds. It's a long season. There's 24 races. That's a ton. We have the Las Vegas race coming up towards the end of the season. So it's setting up for a really great season. It's going to be a very bettable season. We're going to have a lot of bets each and every week, especially now that we're really prepared to do the practice and qualifying and full race bet. So very exciting. Futures wise, I think you jump on Max Verstappen early in the season, wait for the other teams to catch up, and then take that Haas over Williams for the season points.
Man, and if you want to try and make it out for that Las Vegas race, you're probably going to want to get some all access from Andy to hopefully get some extra spending money because dear God, those prices on hotels continue because like the people can afford it. Like the F1 fans, they figure can afford this, but these numbers are crazy, Andy. Like this is the most lucrative fan base of all time, right?
100 grand for some of the packages that
Woo!
includes getting a flight in and tickets.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
100 grand. I mean,
like
you're better off hitting up, Teddy Covers or anybody
yeah.
that lives out in Vegas and
Yeah,
maybe rent a
you got a
bedroom.
couch. You got a
Yes,
couch
a
like and
couch, anything.
Teddy might charge you 2 grand, but that's a steal. Like that's
The
an
steal.
absolute
He's got a
steal.
beautiful couch. Oh, you can
Yeah,
sleep like
great
a
dog.
baby
Wife
in
is an
there.
amazing cook. You can't do
Oh, it's
much better.
great.
Now, you
Little
know what else is an amazing steal? Beautiful segue there. This auto racing and golf package that you have up, man, it's been rolling beneath us. Just $299 gets you every play throughout the golf season, throughout the auto racing season. And Andy, I mean, we hit it over the head all the time, but these are two sports that you have just rolled in.
Never had a losing season in either sport coming into this season. So every season at Wager Talk has been profitable. We're already profitable in the first 6 tournaments of the year in golf, and I fully expect that to continue. If you got this special last year, we cashed 66 units. So
Mm.
it's a no brainer. But the two sports that brought me to Wager Talk, so I will always have a special spot in my heart and in my bankroll for these because each and every year these sports just continue to hit.
And in the client's bank rolls as well. But huge thanks to Andy giving you some auto racing thoughts heading into the weekend and gave us some PGA thoughts earlier this week. We got his UFC thoughts yesterday. So Andy Lang doing the hard work for you folks right here on Wager Talk Extra. What's a better way to thank him than ride with him long term? Just $299 for that package. So we got his thoughts on the UFC earlier this week. Why don't we take a little break, see what Kyle Anthony is thinking about this weekend's card right after this here on Wager Talk Extra. And when it's time to talk UFC, there's one guy we got to bring on here to Wager Talk Extra, and that's the UFC king at WagerTalk.com. Kyle Anthony back in the saddle. And Kyle, it's not just been for the clients. You just come on week after week giving this plus money gold for the folks. Christmas isn't for months, man, and you're just giving out presents every week here, brother. Happy to have you back. How's it been?
Good, man. Good. I'm trying to find some gold, man. I'm trying to find some gold. I got some gold for the clients, but I'm trying to make sure we got some plays on here, some plus money plays for everybody watching too, man. It's been a good year, and trying to keep it going, man.
No, it's been terrific. And in case you missed the last 2 weeks' shows, we had a plus 170 that Kyle gave out, a plus 200 winner. And he's trying to find some gold in them there hills again this week for you guys watching here. And we appreciate you doing so. Just throw a like, a subscribe, and of course, check him out at wt.buzz/KA. Well, Kyle, we always like it when you come on because you come on with a fight to watch that's always highly billed. We got the main event we're breaking down here, and I'll just throw it your way. How are you going to be breaking this one down? You have an outright winner, you think? We attack this by rounds? How are you betting this one?
Yeah, this main event here, you got Jessica Andrade, the former champion. She's going up against a 23-year-old, little bit of a hype kind of getting behind her in Erin Blanchfield. Now, you've got the line, has moved in. It was minus 180 on Andrade. It's got to minus 150, so money is definitely coming in on Blanchfield. But when you look at this, it's very interesting because really Blanchfield, her big way and her big path and probably her only path on Saturday is going to be the grappling. It's going to be takedowns. It's going to be pushing forward. It's going to be top control. Going to be looking to get those submissions. That's going to be her path. That's what she needs to do. But there are multiple problems for Erin Blanchfield in this fight. And the first part is going to be physicality. She is not going to be the stronger woman. There is not many females that are going to be stronger than Jessica Andrade. Absolutely not. I think in the clinch is going to be tough. I think up against the fence is going to be tough. I think all those things are going to make it very difficult for Blanchfield to get to where she wants to fight. And if you look at it also, since 2014, Andrade has only been taken down by Valentina Shevchenko, world champion. And you really got to put Erin Blanchfield in that category. If she's going to go out there and she's going to get these takedowns, get that control time, that's not something really that Andrade is just susceptible to. She's not susceptible to just allowing top control. She can scramble. She can get off of her back. She's got jiu-jitsu. So there are those things that I think can help her. Plus, I think the smaller cage, when, we all know that Andrade will blitz forward, heavy shots, pushing forward, that's going to be difficult for someone like Erin Blanchfield. And if this thing stays on the feet, she is going to be getting lit up left and right. I don't really see much from Blanchfield on the feet. We saw JJ Aldridge, who is not very good. I don't put her at the higher caliber fighters, but although she, Blanchfield won that fight, she was getting hit. I mean, JJ Aldridge was pushing forward, landing straights, taking her down, controlling her. I mean, if Andrade fought JJ, bad things would be happening to JJ Aldridge there. But when you look at it overall, even the last part of this is experience and competition level. I mean, they're nowhere near each other. They're nowhere near. And again, 23 years old for Blanchfield. The UFC should be bringing her up slow. Andrade coming in on short notice. So I think that's also why some of this line is moving. But if you look, since 2015, Andrade has only lost to current or past champions. So she has only lost to Valentina Shevchenko, Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. That's a murderer's row of fighters, but she's 11-4 over that span. So she has only lost to top-level opponents. I think this line has come in way too much. I think it's an overreaction to the fact that Andrade is coming in on short notice. And the other part about this is it's not that Andrade has been not fighting for 6-7 months. She fought January 21st. She absolutely blew the doors off of Lauren Murphy, dominating, took no damage. This is a different situation. If Andrade is at full camp and she has a full camp, I put this at minus 300. I think she can go out there. She can be physical. She can dominate. The power difference is going to be very different. So I do not agree with the line movement at all. I think Andrade can go out here, do what she wants. I think minus 150 is a fantastic number on a former champion against somebody who's really stepping up in competition. So I like that spot. I think it's good for Andrade.
Sounds like Kyle's saying, let that money keep coming in the marketplace, baby.
Yeah,
keep giving me this price on JA. I love to see it, man. I love it when the contrarian angle comes in, and the breakdown too. If you just look at the competition that she's faced throughout her career, and she's been able to go toe to toe with, and the players, or the fighters, excuse me, that she's lost to, makes perfect sense. I mean, that's why this guy continues to cash week after week in the UFC. So looking towards the favorite in the main event. Let's talk a little method of victory on one of these other fights. We're looking at this Silva and Landsberg fight, and you think you just might have a read on how this one's going to be ending. So what are we thinking in the Silva and Landsberg fight, Kyle?
Yeah, so this is some of the gold here. We're going to try to keep that plus money streak going on the show. So right here, I mean, you look at the line, you got Silva. She's minus 500. Absolutely crazy. The line has gotten pretty wide for, I guess, somewhat of a good reason. Landsberg comeback is plus 365. You look at Landsberg, she's 40. Silva's 31. You look at Lana, she's 0-3 out of her last 3. Silva 4-2-1 out of her last 7. 2-fight winning streak. So she's starting to do some good things. She's got good grappling. She definitely has some BJJ. She can get those submissions. But I think the reason why this fight has some legs and kind of moves a little bit further than I think people are thinking is the fact that, first being the takedowns. Now, the way that this fight could finish most likely for Silva is going to be submission, is going to be looking to get that grappling. But the crazy part about this is that she has 8 UFC fights. She has 0 successful takedowns and only 1 attempt, which was denied. So that's kind of crazy if that's going to be her path to victory, but she does have 3 submission victories. And you probably ask, how the hell is that possible? Well, the reason being is that her opponents took her down. And Jillian Robertson, Barella, Stephanie Edgar, these are women who are comfortable being on the ground. That is where, Silva can be deadly. She can go in there. She can smoothly transition to a dominant position, find those opportunities. But Landsberg is not someone who goes away easily. She's been tough. Yes, she is 0-3 out of her last 3. If she loses here, that's probably the end of her UFC career. But she hasn't been somebody that has been getting dominated. Even though she's losing, she'll win a round. She'll keep it, she'll at least keep it somewhat competitive. Yes, she's losing. But if you also look, this is the latter part of her career, but since 2017, she's only been finished 1 time. That was Aspen Ladd, which is, okay, I get that part, but you're looking at it, the last 7 fights went to a decision. She's 3-4 over that span. This is a woman that's not easy to put away. So I don't see Landsberg shooting for takedowns. I don't think she's even going to be interested in that. Of course, if she get rocked, she could do that. I could see that happening. But in general, I see this playing out completely on the feet. I don't think either one has the ability to get the knockout, damage the other person. I think it's a pitter-patter kind of fight, and it goes the distance. So getting off of the minus 500 number, you look at Bueno Silva, she is via points is anywhere from plus 130 to plus 140. I think is a great number. I think she absolutely wins this fight, but I just think it will not be a finish. She'll go out there and she'll win via points. I think it's a good spot. And let's hit that plus money again.
Oh, I love the plus money. You know that, Kyle. And I also love the way that you break down the fight to find a way to find some value on someone who's minus 500. It's hard to talk clients. It's hard to talk people in free play, laying, a 5-1 to get that, 10 back or whatever. So I love trying to break that down and find a way to find some plus money for the folks. That's the Kyle Anthony difference. And that's why you want to go check him out at WT.buzz/KA. When they head over there, you have anything locked and loaded for this weekend already, brother?
Yeah. I am coming off a big 11.35 units at UFC 284. Massive night for clients. Feeling good. This weekend got an all-access pass. I actually discounted it a little bit there. So if you're interested to get involved, check it out. Got 3 plays loaded. Gonna have probably 4. So I'm excited about it, man. Got to keep it going. Let's keep this hot streak going.
Man, if he's continuing to cash these plus money plays if he does it again this week and you don't buy his all access, I'm just going to have to mute his mic every time that he comes on here. He's giving away too much. Check him out over there at WagerTalk.com. Huge thanks to Kyle Anthony. So now we got him and Andy Lang's thoughts on this UFC event. So why don't we check out what they're thinking over at SportsMemo. Right after this, we're going to talk to Moneyline Matt and get his thoughts on UFC Fight Night. And let's shut the show down with my man Moneyline Matt. Head on over sm.buzz/MLM. Always a pleasure to have you on. And, man, we talked last week that you had a Super Bowl wedding to attend I almost wish that I was your +1 because I could have used something to distract me from how the Birds ended up losing that one. But how's it been running for you, man? And how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. It's good to be back. We're here in the Wager Talk office right now, and been running really good. Been running good with the NBA as of late. You know, I love my player props, my same game parlay, stuff like that. But last week in the wedding kind of sucked. You know, we had to miss the Super Bowl. We had to miss UFC 284, two huge events. But we got another fight card this weekend. We're gonna break it down right here. So excited to get into it with you, Dan.
Man, it better have been the best food ever, best DJ ever, because that's still, I feel for you on that one. Well, man, like you said, great card this weekend for the UFC Fight Night coming up here. And you have one fight that you really wanted to hone in on, two different ways that you're kind of looking at it. We're talking William Knight versus Marcin Prachnio. And I'm just wondering how, as far as this fight setting up, how are you handicapping this one?
You know, I think this is an even fight for many reasons. And, you know, this is a fight where, William Knight against Marcin Prachnio. And William Knight has lost two fights in a row, most recently by knockout to Devin Clark. And his opponent, Marcin Prachnio, has won two of his last three, most recently losing to Philip Lienz. And, this is a fight where, Prachnio is a 6'3" fighter and William Knight is 5'10". William Knight is one of those guys who likes to come forward. He has a ton of power in those hands. And, when you look at Prachnio, he's actually gotten knocked out. He's 2-4 in his last six, and actually has been knocked out in three of those losses. As for William Knight, he's 4-4 within the UFC. Four of those fights getting finished with inside the distance. And it's more so the stylistic matchup that actually makes me believe this is going to get finished with inside the distance. Because, for one, you take a look at Prachnio, he is someone who does not take anyone down. He has a zero takedown average in the UFC right now. And then as for William Knight, he's someone who likes to take people down, but his issue is he can't keep them down and he tires himself out while down there. So because of that, I think it's either going to be William Knight getting a finish while on the ground and pound, or he's also got a ton of power in those hands. He can catch you, knock anyone out within the UFC. But again, if he tires himself out on the ground, which I actually think is what's going to happen, I like Marcin Prachnio to get the finish once this fight gets back up to the feet. This guy is an expert in karate. He's an expert striker, very clean. He's very careful, but still has a lot of power. He's actually finished one of his last fights with a liver kick, so he can do it from a couple different variations. So for me, I really like this fight to finish with inside the distance at -160 across most sports books.
With a liver kick. How about it, man?
Yeah.
You never know how the finish is going to come. So you're looking at the fight to not go the distance, finish inside the distance, whatever the verbiage might be, around -160, shop around, get the best price for that. And it also sounded like you thought Mr. Liver Kick could get it done. And depending on where you shop, you can get him at even money, even a little slight plus money dog at some spots. So are you also saying, hey, why don't we sprinkle a little bit on Prachnio to get that finish and just pick him to win on the money line?
Yeah, I really am. Like you were saying, Knight is coming in across most sports books around -120, and Prachnio is 100. And for me, kind of what I went to before, stylistically, I think this is a very good matchup because as for Prachnio, he's someone who he can fend off some takedowns. He has a 53% takedown defense. When looking at William Knight, his takedown percentage is around 43%. So I do think he'll be able to keep him away here. Then one thing that I found pretty interesting is when looking at William Knight. Okay, this is a 5'10" fighter, but I've also seen him as low as 5'8" across, looking at his statistic breakdown in terms of height. And when he has faced fighters 6'3" and above, he has never won. Prachnio is 6'3", so he is a taller fighter. One thing as well, with William Knight, like I said before, he likes to take people down. He averages 2.07 takedowns per bout. But again, he can't keep people there. He struggles to keep them down. He tends to tire himself out while on the ground, going for submissions as well, chasing submissions a little bit too long. What that does, if you take a look at William Knight or you watch this fight this weekend, this guy seems like he's like half bodybuilder, half UFC guy when he wants to be. So again, those muscles, they tire out that much quicker. So because of that, I really do like the look of Prachnio to get this done inside the distance. Like I said, with William Knight, I think the path path to victory here is actually getting him tired out. And I think the hedge here is actually the inside the distance, because if Prachnio were to lose, I think he just gets clean knocked out. William Knight does have a ton of power in those hands. He can catch absolutely anyone. So for me, that would be the hedge there with the under or the inside the distance. But both guys can finish each other, and I definitely give the edge to Prachnio in this bout.
Looking towards Prachnio, the even money line Matt play for you. And man, you mentioned it at the top, the same game parlay king. If you're not following Moneyline Matt on Twitter, Moneyline Matt 8 on Twitter, then I don't know what you're doing. But when people head on over to your page at SportsMemo, sm.buzz/MLM, what do you have locked and loaded for the clients, Matt?
Yeah, so we're definitely going to be looking at this Minnesota Timberwolves game tonight. I got a couple player props that I'm eyeing. Been running hot in the player props. Have hit, I believe, 3 in a row now. Went 2-0 last night. We had the Philadelphia 76ers money line as they beat the Cavaliers. And then we had my boy Jalen Brunson, one of the most consistent players throughout the NBA, over 26.5. He got that done for us. So just looking to keep it rolling tonight before heading into that All-Star break. We got to get some more cash heading into that break. So here we go.
You love to see another cash for my Villanova guy, Jalen Brunson. Him, baby. I love to see that for you, Matt. So that's going to do it for another week here on WagerTalk Extra. Big thanks to Moneyline Matt finishing off the show. Kyle Anthony with his UFC thoughts as well. And Andy Lang giving us thoughts all week long. If you like the show, all we ask you to do, hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss any of the great shows here at WagerTalk TV. And we will be back with another full slate, cashing you tickets every which way we can right here on WagerTalk Extra.